and 4, which I'm going to break it down here in a minute, I got more slides, and 4 competencies. And then the next one, advanced, also requires a portfolio and 4 more competencies. And then we have a specialization, which is really neat. If you want to specialize, go that next step and, specialize in mentoring and supervision. It's, really goes on mentoring. Health support, if you have someone that you work with that has medical, maybe on a CCMC and you're like, that really interests me, you could then specialize in that field. Positive behavior support, if you have someone who is on PBSs and you're really familiar with and they interest you, then you can get more information on that. Aging is a new one. They don't quite have it rolled out yet, but they're in the process. And like I said, the nice thing about being on that committee when it is rolled out, we can get our hands on it first.
Put Palmer there instead of right here. Is that okay?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, they'll figure it out. Okay, so breaking down, so I already broke this down before we got here. So it would be me getting the criminal background, me getting the letter confirming your training is up to date, me getting the letter that you got proof of current employment, letter of intent of professional commitment, that would be from you guys, right in that line field. Assigned NADSP, code of ethics, that would be from you. MESCO would pay the fee, and I would mail it in, and then you'd get a beautiful little, little diploma, but little, I don't know what you call it.
In where you do the certified initial part and then the certified advanced, and like those 3 parts, you said there was 4.
Yep, we're going to, if you flip the page.
There's 4 of these in each one of those.
Yep, if you go to the next page, it's going to be this slide. It will break down requirements for that credentialing.
Oh.
So the DSP one, same thing. You need to have a criminal background check, which you already do. So I would produce that letter saying, since you had your initial background check, you haven't committed a crime as far as we know. We validate that. Then you need proof of completion of approved education training program, which is your CDS. You need 100 hours, which counts as 50 CDS lessons. So right now, you've got 23, because for the purpose of this, we count each one as 2 hours. So you would need another 27 to 50. So you need another 27 lessons, and I'll show you what the list is, because then you get to pick which ones. These 23, you didn't get to pick. We picked them for you. But the additional ones, you get to pick which ones that you want.
That's awesome. Because this was like a lot of, I wouldn't say most of it was basic, but some of it was pretty basic, but at the tail end is where it got more interesting. Some things I was like, whoa.
Yeah, we didn't want to overwhelm you in the beginning, just kind of get those basics, and be like, okay, this is why you're doing it, this is why you're in here, and this is how you do it, and then getting a little more information. And then with this one, you have to have 1 year of employment. I mean, you guys are already at 6 months. This one, you would write up a resume, and they give you, they have a wonderful handbook, and I would help you through the process to write a resume. They give all that stuff. Another signed code of ethics, just in case, we somewhere from sign it last time to this time, you're not aware. And then, once again, another letter of professional commitment. And I put in there an updated letter from the DSPR. When I did this, I took my DSPR letter that I wrote like 6 months prior, and I just updated it. I changed a few sentences in there because some things had changed. At that time I had finished one of my degrees, and so I updated that and, changed the date in there and all that. And it was really easy.
DSPR?
That's the registration.
Okay.
That's this one here. And then you need a letter of recommendation from the consumer or a family member. Same thing, they give you a nice little template that you can give to the family, and the family pretty much just says that they support you in getting this. I had no problem. They've broken this down. When I did it, they had only 1 level of credentialing. You had to do all of it at one time. You had to do 200 hours and 8 work samples, but now they've divided it in half. And at that time, I had to have 3 letters of support. It was no problem getting them. And then your portfolio is going to have 4 competencies. So out of those 15 competencies, you get to pick 4 that are of interest to you and may apply to the consumers that you're working with. And then there's a $100 fee that MESCA provides, pays for, and then the completion of the DSPR. So you could stay right there at the DSP1 and be okay with it, or if you wanted to advance and go up to the DSP2, the advanced level, you would do the exact same thing. You would do 4 more competencies and build a portfolio. It's pretty much the only thing. And then you would do an additional 50 CDS lessons.
So that's the DSP2 for the register? What?
You have registered the DSP credentialed 1 and now DSP credentialed 2.
Okay.
They call the DSP1 the initial level, and then this one is advanced level. I don't like that they did 1, 2, and 3 on it. I wish they would have came up with a different term. When I went through it, it was actually DSPC.
DSPC?
So, yeah,
Just
as
certified.
just certified. because
That's
one
cool.
and 1 and 2 were together in one clump. So if you actually look out there on the board, you're going to see DSPR and DSPC.
That reminds me of that song.
I wonder what that
That's what it was.
DSPC.
Yeah, it was certified, but now they've changed it. And we haven't had anybody go through it and complete it on the initial level or advanced level. So when they do, I'm gonna have to figure out how to put that on the board.
Change it out
Out
there,
there. Yeah, maybe.
Put
Yeah.
a big star by their name.
Yeah. When we get the new building, I can just have maybe a bigger wall to put it on.
When's the big
on it.
building
So
coming?
there's actually a lot to it then.
Like another year out still.
Sweet.
Yeah, there's a lot, and
But
it's
it's gonna be away
it's
from my house.
it seems intimidating, but you're actually, if you do it while you're
And it's all on your
it's
own
live.
time,
It's
right?
yeah, and it's live. You know, you're pulling information about
the work you
consumers
do.
you're working with. You know, and if you're helping someone advocate for themselves by trying to find a new apartment, and you're helping them make phone calls or doing whatever, then that's what you would write up.
Mhm.
You know, you would just kind of do a little journal of, you know, entries of, you know, I helped Billy Bob call Alaska Housing today. We returned a phone call. You know, whatever steps you take, that's what you're working on, and that's what you write up. And they have a little cheat sheet of how to write it up too, and I'll show you that here in a second. That's a bonus slide. So the third level, the requirements for the third level is that you have to complete the DSP2, which is the advanced. So you would have to do the DSPR, DSP initial, DSP advanced, and then you would do the DSP3, which would be specialization. And for that, you need additional 40 hours of training, and they have some courses that go along with that. Or it could be, you know, reading books on the topic and writing something up, like a book report. There's different areas, ways to get that. And then you need a year of employment. And then for this one, you only need 3 competencies. And those 3 competencies come out, not out of those 15, they come out of one specifically for aging or for health or for inclusion. They have their own competencies that you pick from. Actually, I don't think you pick, I think they tell you. Okay, so just in a nutshell, recertification, a DSPR, it's not on here, but you do not have to reapply. It's a one-time thing. The DSP1, the initial one, you have to do it every 2 years. And it's easy. You just have to show, I think it's additional 20 hours of training. And they let you count full lives. If you go to full lives training, that counts. And you can do 12-year hours as MANT and CPR and first aid. And so those additional 8 hours, if you go to full lives or go do any independent study training, all those count. So we've had a couple people who have actually renewed, and it's pretty easy. It's filling out an application, jotting down, I sign it, authorize, yeah, you completed this training, and send them another check, and they're good for another 2 years. Oh, it's right there. See, I got ahead of myself. 8 employer required, 8, I had it flip-flopped. 8 could be MANT, CPR, and the other 12 could be like full lives. And then you just have to sign the code of ethics again. They give you multiple times to sign that code of ethics, just
Sure
as a refresher.
sticks.
Yeah, they haven't changed. We still apply. So I've been talking about the word about portfolio. Portfolio is a collection of materials that show the author's mastery of particular skills. So you got to show that proof. I think of it as kind of like show and tell at school. You know, you have to bring that poster board with all the information about your book report that you read. You know, remember that from back in school?
Oh yeah.
I know my kids have to do it right now. And so it's that proof, you know, and then you gotta, because you just can't take someone's word. Because reviewing, this gets sent over to New York and there was someone in Boston. They're the reviewing committee, and so they don't know you. So you've got to sell yourself on paper and be able to demonstrate that you really know how to do this.
Well, I think it goes back to you've done the work and you've done the test, you've talked the talk, but can you really walk the walk?
Yeah.
It's proof that you can,
Mhm.
because you're showing that you're applying the skills you've learned to the people you work with by helping them in one of those areas that you talked about, whether it's advocacy or, you know, whatever particular area that someone you work with is working on. It's showing that you've assisted them with the skills you've learned and how to do that. So.
And I can help you with your portfolio. Okay, you're not going to be out there floundering around. It's something I've taken on with the Moving Mountains. That's part of follow-up I need to do. But your portfolio is going to have a title page, table of contents, resume, letter of recommendation, the professional commitment statement, code of ethics, the work samples, release of information, and training records. Pretty simple. I mean, it looks scary, but it really is simple.
It pieces together.
So here's just an example, and I'm not going to go into too much because sometimes too much information is very overwhelming. But this is an example. So this competency is participant empowerment. So they have listed underneath there the skill statement. This is what you're trying to be able to show you can do. The direct support professional enhances the ability of the participant to lead a self-determined life by providing the supports and information necessary to build self-esteem and assertiveness and to make decisions. So that's the skill statement. That's the competency that you're trying to prove and show that, yeah, I can do this. And so on this one, there's 4 skill statements. You get to pick 2 of them. Those are how then you're going to show that you know how to do it. So maybe, like number 2, the competent DSP promotes participant partnership in the design of support services, consulting the person and involving him or her in her support process. So that, you know, would be working with a consumer of, you know, empowering them, of, you know, making sure they're making their choices, the choices that are being made for them. And so you would give examples of how you supported that person. You know, maybe they wanted to attend a college class, and maybe the parents were like, you know, they're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to follow along with it. But maybe you help empower that consumer to talk about their choices and talk with their family and talk with the team and try to maybe make that a reality. So that proof, how do you do that show and tell? There's different ways. You can write a journal. When I did one for advocacy, I was helping a consumer move out of one place to another place. And so I did a journal. I wrote down the date, and that's the example I gave. I wrote down the date of, we called Alaska Housing on this date. You know, we drove by Alaskan Housing on this date, picked up information. This date we reviewed the information. Because it's not all going to happen in 1 or 2 days. I mean, that takes over the course of a month or 2 of trying to get that. Communication logs, you can do, we had people who did this, they did photo albums. They had one person that they were helping them learn how to cook. It was like and so they took pictures of them, you know, with the mixing bowl and following a recipe and, you know, kind of documented it that way.
Is it okay it's okay to take pictures as long
we
as...
have a release. We have a release of information specific to this. So if you're wanting to use that consumer's name or information, we have them sign or the guardian sign. And it's specifically for this purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. And if, you know, there was a couple that I used, you know, information on, and they refused to sign the release of information. So what I did was I changed Billy Bob's name to John Smith. And so I just changed everything and whited out his name in the log book that I was using. And then when I wrote up my narrative, I said, you know, the individual I used for this work sample refused to, you know, give consent. So I have, you know, changed the name and any identifying information